Praise the name of the Lord thy God of heavens. Back again with another story. This story is about missing black men in the United States. Okay, so if you Google missing black men, Google will tell you there's 1.5 million black men missing in the United States that are unaccounted for. The ones that are in jail or prison, they're accounted for. The ones that are left the country, they're accounted for. These are just missing black men that are just missing. And I know one of the reasons why they're missing with this story I'm about to tell you. Now, this story might take maybe 2 or 3 parts. Okay, so now, of course, you know I was a driver. Okay, so I was driving I-10 West in Texas. This is back in the 90s, but this still goes on today. So I was driving I-10 West coming into Fort Stockton area of Texas. And I heard some garbling on the CB radio. And I flipped down a few channels to kind of eavesdrop to hear what somebody's talking about. So I can hear about, 5 men talking on the CB radio about a black man and his son that were in the rest area west of Fort Stockton. So I grabbed my map and I looked, and the rest area is about 4 miles west of Fort Stockton. But these men, this was a hate group. And these men were talking about go and get the van, go out to and get those N-words, and we're going to take those N-words to the tree, and we're going to beat them first, we're going to hang them, and then we're going to burn them. Okay, now the man seemed to be in charge of this was talking on a base station. Okay, a base station means that this is someone that has a CB radio at their house. And he was talking to the other men and directing them what to do, and he was telling them, y'all need to hurry up and get out there and get them. I don't want them to get away. Y'all hurry up and go out to go get the van and go out and get them N-words before they get away. He kept saying, I don't want them to get away. Y'all hurry up and go out there and get the van and get out there and get them and bring them to the tree. I don't want them to get away. And they kept talking, okay, we're going to go get the van. And they kept talking back and forth, about what they're going to do to him. They're going to do this to him. They're going to do that to him. But he kept saying he don't want them to get away, and he wants them to really hurry up and get out there and get them. Now, one of the ways that people find out about you is someone drove past there, seen the black man and his son in the rest area, and made a phone call. And that's what happens a lot of times. That's the way that they'll find out where you at. Let's go to part 2. Praise the name of the Lord thy God. This is part 2 of 1.5 million black men missing in the United States. Okay, now, after I heard all that, I tried to speed up, and try to get to the rest area as fast as possible so I can warn these people of what's coming if they're still in there. So it was very tense and everything, and I was, it was just so dramatic of me trying to hurry up and get there to warn these people to save their lives. So I get to the rest area and I come in there on the ramp, and I stop the truck, set the brakes, and I jump out the truck, and I ran over to this man. I see this black man, kind of tall, slender black man, and his son was in the rest area. It looked like his son was over there playing on the swing, and they had like a picnic table there. They had, sandwiches and a cooler out there, and they were just resting in the rest area. And I ran over to him, and I told him, I said, look, you need to hurry up and get out of this rest area. I said, you have a hate group back up the road talking about coming out here with a van and abducting you and your son and taking you and your son to a tree. And they say they're going to beat you and your son first. They're going to hang you and your son side by side, and they're going to burn your bodies. And he told me, he said, man, get off that. And I said, look, I'm not kidding. I said, you need to hurry up and get your son, get your stuff, and get out of this rest area, because these men are talking about killing you and your son. And we're going back and forth. I'm telling him, I'm not kidding. This is not a joke. You need to get your stuff, get out of this rest area, because you got about 5 men on the way here with a van to take you and abduct you and your son and take you and your son out to somewhere and kill both of you. He doesn't believe me. We're going back and forth. And I'm getting to the point where, hey, I'm fixing to get out of here myself, because I don't have no kind of weapons or nothing with me. I'm getting to the point where I'm getting ready to leave because he doesn't believe me. So what happens is the men start talking on the radio again. And they said, he's asking them, how far y'all from the rest area? And I told him, I said, hey, you come over here to this truck and you listen to what these men are talking about you and your son. So he walks over there behind me with a sandwich in his hand, kind of reluctant looking at me like I'm crazy. So he's listening at these men talking about how far y'all from the rest area. He said, we're about 5 miles from the rest area. He said, y'all hurry up and get out there and get those N-words so we can take him to the tree, and we're going to beat him first. We're going to beat him first, and we're going to hang him and his son side by side. And then we're going to burn him. Okay, we're going to go to part 3, and this should finish it up. Okay, back again with 1.5 million black men missing in the United States. Part 3. Okay, so as he stands there and listens at all that, he was eating that sandwich he had in his hand. So when he heard what they said they were going to do to him and his son, how they're going to hang him and his son side by side, he looked like he almost choked off that sandwich and he heard that. And I told him he was kind of like in a state of shock. And I yelled at him, I said, hey, man, go get your son, get out of this rest area. So he took off running. He ran over to the picnic table, and he grabbed all his stuff and he threw it in the back seat, his cooler and all that. And then he went and grabbed his, so I could see that his son was looking like, what's going on? So he went and grabbed his son and looked like he was about 10, and put him in the front seat and closed the door. In the meantime, I was looking up the ramp because I'm thinking if anybody comes in this ramp, I was going to block the ramp with the truck, right? So after I see him doing all that, and he walking around getting in his car, and I see him cranking up the car and everything. So that's when I decided, okay, well, I'm going to start moving out of here myself. So I start driving toward the ramp, and then I see him moving the car. So I'm start coming up the ramp, coming back out on I-10, and I see him coming up behind me as I was going up the ramp at like a high rate of speed. So I'm like, what is he going to do, run in the back of the truck? So the man came up behind me at a high rate of speed. He drove off the road, down into the ditch, kicking up grass, coming up beside me, kicking up grass and dirt and everything. He's driving down in the ditch now. And he got back over in front of me on the ramp, coming out to I-10 at a high rate of speed. And I'm like, man, he is gone. So I'm like, I'm looking at him up the road. I'm like, look like he's doing like, 100 miles an hour. I mean, this man was driving. So within like, I'm going to say like a minute or two, he was completely out of my sight. I like, that man is gone. And I'm sure that if I hadn't came in there and warned him, him and his son probably be missing today. And, they'll just be missing, just like all the rest of them. 1.5 million black men missing in the United States. They would have been missing also.